Dr. Leah Cheryl Manyo. Hi, Doctora.
Thank you very much, Isa. So, like Isa said, I will be sharing with you much like a background of what cervical cancer is. We've been talking about it from the very start, but I'm here to give you a background on it. First, what is cervical cancer? Cervical cancer is when you have an abnormal amount of abnormal cells on the cervix that grow out of control. What is the cervix? The cervix is the lowermost part of the uterus that connects and opens into the vagina. Now, globally, we have more than 500,000 cases that are diagnosed each year. And with that, more than 250,000 will end up and succumb to death. Taking it closer to home, in the Philippines, we'll have around 7,000 cases of cervical cancer, which will be diagnosed each and every year. And of that, more than half will succumb to death. If you do the math and you'd say, we're 100 million Filipinos, what's 7,000 Filipinas dying? If you compute it, that's 7 Filipinas dying of cervical cancer each and every day. In the Philippines, where the culture is very mother-centric, that will be somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's friend, somebody's co-worker. But how do we actually get cervical cancer? Cervical cancer needs to have a persistent infection with the high grade or the oncogenic type of HPV or the human papillomavirus. Now, there is the low grade, there is the high grade, but for you to be able to get cervical cancer, it has to be the high grade and it has to be a repeating kind of infection. It doesn't mean that when you get HPV, you're bound to get cervical cancer right away. No. Our bodies are well equipped to be able to clear the infection when we don't have much of the risk factors, or two, if our immune system is very well just to take care of that infection, it can clear that infection very well. Now, there's an estimated 80% of women who will get HPV in their lifetime. Can you imagine? 80%. And that cuts across age, socioeconomic status, and lifestyle. So it means all women are at risk. Now, what are the risk factors for getting cervical cancer? These are some of them. You can have smoking, early first sexual intercourse, multiple sexual partners, having been given birth several times, long-term use of oral contraceptives, and having HIV or a weakened immune system. But can cervical cancer be prevented? The answer is yes. It's a resounding yes, and it can be done through screening and vaccination, much of which will be discussed later on. So I hope I've given you an overview of what cervical cancer is, its risk factors, and how it can be prevented. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause for Dr. Leah. Thank you. I love how she gave such a friendly overview of what it is. Because again, what's the saying? The only thing to fear is fear itself. And fear is always something that we don't, fear comes out when we don't know something, right? So fear of the unknown is the only valid fear there is. So after Dr. Leah's presentation, we now have a little information, a little sense of understanding of what it is, and with a little awareness, we get to know that we are equipped. We are able to do something about it. So pushing that forward to why we're gathered here today, we do want all of you to be on board this awareness campaign that we're doing. And that comes with our next speaker. In line with the spreading of awareness of our cervical cancer campaign, to tell us how through this awareness campaign we can help women realize that they have the power to actually protect themselves and change their futures. So I hope you're all ears. Ladies and gentlemen, she's the Associate Product Manager for GSK's HPV vaccines. We have Ms. Jacqueline Cortez. Jackie?
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. To our guests and members of the press, thank you very much for taking your time for this event. So we have heard how cervical cancer is a major threat to Filipino women. Statistics tells us that 7 Filipinas die of cervical cancer every day, and that the disease is the second leading cause of cancer death among Filipinas. This may just be numbers now, but what we must remember is that all Filipinas are at risk of cervical cancer, and we do not want any one of us, and nor our loved ones, to be included in those who will succumb to this deadly disease. But what does it mean when one succumbs to cervical cancer? As a woman, what her roles in life are, and she has a plenty. She's a daughter, she's a mom, she's a wife, a best friend, a sister, a girlfriend, a partner, and many more. Ask her what her aspirations in life are, and her list would be endless. May it be as personal as getting married and having a family, or traveling abroad. Or may it be a professional aspirations, like to become a manager someday, or to be an entrepreneur, or to retire at a young age. Or may it be pursuing a hobby, playing in a band, climbing a mountain, or diving. Or may it be as short-term as giving baon to her kids, or as long-term as seeing her kids finish school. And we can go on and on to list down the dreams of every woman. A woman's life is indeed defined by her roles and her dreams. And to be inflicted by cervical cancer means losing all these roles and aspirations. That's why we, in GSK, align with our vision of enabling Filipinos to do more, feel better, and live longer. We're committed to our advocacy of spreading awareness about cervical cancer and information on how to prevent this disease. To convince women to look after themselves is such a challenge because, as we all know, Filipinas are by nature selfless. They'd rather prioritize their loved ones' needs before theirs. That is why this year, we are using a more empowering campaign that will allow every woman to take care of her loved ones by taking care of herself. We do not want cervical cancer to redefine a woman's roles and her dreams. We want every woman to claim her power over cervical cancer and fulfill her dreams with her loved ones. What this power means is to be able to protect oneself and one's dreams. And as a testament to our dedication in spreading information on the value of preventive healthcare, we're doing our activations in various industries where we will have the opportunity to reach more women. To date, we have conducted over 100 disease awareness lectures to different groups of women or even their partners to bring into their consciousness the understanding of the risk of cervical cancer. Our on-site activations come in different formats to engage various types of audience. The setup you see outside, the porta booth, the digital engager, is very much similar to what you can see in our on-site activations. We hope that you found value in these activities for you to bring it in your own office mates to bring awareness to your co-workers. Should you be interested to mount a disease awareness activity and preventive healthcare program in your workplace, please get in touch with us. And finally, I enjoin everyone to know more about cervical cancer and take a proactive action to understand the risk, the burden, methods of screening and prevention, and take part in spreading the information. To know more about the disease, you may visit our Facebook page, Power Over Cervical Cancer. That's www.facebook.com/POCCPH. So I believe most of us here now has Facebook page. So I'd like to ask everyone to bring out your mobile phones, to go to Facebook, log in, and just search POCCPH. Just put POCCPH on the search engine or on the search bar, and you'll be led to the Power Over Cervical Cancer Facebook page. So please like this page so that you'll be updated with information about this disease. And you may visit our Facebook page, just search for. And as we're expanding reach through digital initiatives, I also would like to invite everyone to visit the Power Over Cervical Cancer website. That's www.powerovercervicalcancer.com. And in this website, one will be able to view disease awareness videos, answer an assessment quiz on cervical cancer, and be able to tag a friend and know more and join the conversation about cervical cancer. And finally, while we recognize that all women are at risk of cervical cancer, the good news is that we can claim the power over this disease. And you are part in spreading that good news to every Filipina. And finally, I'd like to encourage everyone to ask your doctor about cervical cancer protection. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause for Jack, please. Jack, thank you. I think that's a wonderful message, a great way to just say, hey ladies, let's learn more about how we can empower ourselves when it comes to our health. There's something you better know, which is cervical cancer, but let's do so via what? An office party, right? Or an afternoon tea. It doesn't have to be so stringent. Like our gathering here today, we're learning something new, and yet it's done so in a very celebratory manner. Celebratory in a sense that, yes, we can. That's why it's a title. We can and we will. So please do take opportunities of what Ms. Jack just mentioned. Let's spread the word. Let's make this awareness campaign reach as many women as we can. And hey, just like in our prayer, when two or more are gathered, of course you'll always feel empowered. So let's do this for ourselves. Ladies, do I hear a yes?
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. But hey, from the campaign, let's put a real face, a real person to really drive the point home that it can happen to anyone and that it really happens to real people. So joining me this afternoon, well, they're a standout mother and daughter. She is a mother to 5 children, truly a very strong woman. She braved the horrors of cervical cancer and has remained resilient. She's with her daughter today, who accompanied and helped her throughout her cervical cancer ordeal. So here to share with us their story, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mrs. Rose Manzano and Miss Andy Manzano Reyes. Hi. May I call her Tita? Hi, Tita Rose and Andy. Let's make yourselves comfortable. Not quite done yet with the introduction of beauties. Also, joining us this afternoon for a panel discussion, she's a supermodel, a beauty queen, married to the esteemed photographer of the country, a freelance makeup artist, a vocal advocate of cervical cancer-free Philippines. She's a standout on her own. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, Abigail Arenas de Leon. Hi, Abby. Oh, yes, she just gave birth. 5 weeks ago.
Wow.
Can you believe it? Now they hate you. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, let's make ourselves comfy. Hi, ladies. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to Tita Rose, Andy, and Abby. I want to start first with our mommy-daughter tandem, if you don't mind, Abs. So yes, you went through cervical cancer, but let's get through first, like in our video, what was life for you like before? I mean, what was it like? 5 kids. It's a handful.
Yeah, I have 5 kids, and our life before was really
Carefree.
Yeah, everything. We would do everything together. We would travel, eat out, watch movies. This is before.
You're one of those who would think, it won't happen to me.
Oh yeah, I never thought of it. It never crossed my mind.
Because you look great. And you're always the healthy, you like working out, eating right.
Yes, I eat right, I work out. And so it came as a surprise to me when I found out.
Well, I can see it carries over to your daughter with living healthy, looking gorgeous. You, Andy, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not presuming, you look the way you do, live the way you do because you had a great example.
Yes, that's true. Hi everyone. Hi, by the way. It's changed now, especially that I'm also a mom. right? I'm also a mom, so it changed differently on how I would look at everything when she had cervical cancer. But like your question, like what did we do before? It was so normal, our house is crazy. Imagine there's 4 girls and 1 guy. So kawawa talaga yung lalaki sa house. So, it's crazy. It's super crazy. And the thing is, I'm always with my mom. Like I see her
Because you're
almost.
the panganay.
Yes, not only that, because we're also a very close family. So I see her mga like 4 times a week. And no fail, I either call her or we Skype or we FaceTime all the time. So no fail, I always talk to my mom. So even if I'm far away, but if you just imagine our house, it's crazy always.
So you can just imagine, like, it's always a matter of, what are we gonna do today? Where are we gonna go today? Right? It was always that. Until, may I ask how you found out, Tita Rose?
I was out with friends and I mentioned to them that I was bleeding.
Period.
Yes, but it was a constant bleeding.
Okay.
And I thought I was going through menopause. So menopause. I'm of age already. So my friend said that's not normal. And the next day I went to my cousin who's a movie guy. And yeah, I told him my problem and he said, come to the clinic and let's just have you tested. And so I went right away and he told me don't wait because he knows me. I'll come 3 months after, but he said, get a checkup, don't wait, let's do it right away.
Good note on that, excessive bleeding.
Yeah.
Diba? No matter what age.
Yes.
No matter what age, excessive bleeding, get yourself checked.
Yes.
So you did.
So yeah, I got myself checked and it was positive for.
Getting yourself checked, can we just define this in terms pap smear?
Yes.
That's what our doctors were saying earlier. Pap smear.
Yes. When I got the pap smear, my doctor said he could already feel the tumor.
May tumor na.
Yes.
Ooh.
And so he also did the biopsy.
How did you feel when you heard it? You muna, I don't even want to go yet to Andy when she found out. So you first, Tita, how did you feel? You were alone? Were you alone?
I was with
clinic?
my husband is with me.
Okay.
In the hospital, and when my doctor did a pap smear, he was 100% sure. Yeah. So he didn't have to wait, and he told my husband that I already did have the cancer. And of course, my world crashed.
Yeah, what's going through your head?
Everything, my kids, my family, and everything did not seem important to me, but my family, my children, and trying to survive. So of course, I was crying. We were both crying as we were going out of the hospital. I can just imagine. I can picture it right now. But and he said, we were just holding hands and crying, and he said, we'll get through. I'll help you fight this.
How old were they? You weren't married yet?
This was 2 years ago.
So no.
3 years ago.
2013.
2013. This was the time that I was about to get married, and I was planning my whole wedding. And I think how many more months before my wedding? Maybe like 5 months before my wedding. That's when we all found out. Yeah. So in my head, when she told us, and I remember, my mom texted all of the kids, and she said, "Let's have dinner, and just you and us." And I was like,
Was that the day off, na, Tita? You didn't wait na? Talaga after the hospital?
No.
that night na?
After the hospital, I went back the next day, and then I already planned with my doctor the treatment that I was going to have.
You had a plan
Yes.
before talking to the children
Yes.
first. Okay.
So that's when I spoke to my children.
Ready
I
na.
could tell them this is what it's going to take this long, and I could prepare them.
See, you gotta prepare yourself first before
Yeah.
facing. Okay, sorry, Andy. So I'd like to turn to you. So the day you found out.
So the day we found out, and it's so weird because we always have dinner at home. And I think this is one of the first few times when Mom goes, okay, let's have dinner out in somewhere private and special. So everyone was saying, what's up with Mom? Like, is she pregnant again? So it was like, are we gonna have a 6th child? So we were, we were kind of giddy or happy about it because she might, she just wanted to take us out and share something special with us.
No suspicion.
No
Just
suspicion.
Yeah.
So we were at a restaurant and we were at the corner and she said, I just want to tell you guys something. And then she started crying. And we already knew that it was the big C. Yeah.
Oh.
And we all started crying. She didn't even have to say it.
It's what happens, guys. It's real.
Yeah, she didn't even have to say it. So all of us, we just hugged her and we just prayed together and said, you know what, we'll do this all together.
And the journey since that night, Sherry, has been like the next day. What is it? Were you asking your mom like, okay, what's the day like? Are we going to treatment? You're the panganay, Andy. I can only imagine how this felt on you because not only are you concerned about your mom, you also had your siblings to support.
I promised her, when all the kids were gone, I promised her, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take time and I'm gonna make a way to go with you to every treatment. So I went with her and I made everything possible. I tried to make things lighter for her. I tried to, take charge of the household as much as possible, do the grocery, let her rest. Because, just seeing her go through all those treatments, it made her weak, made her
May we ask what treatments? Is it radiation ba? I mean, what therapy?
I did give chemotherapy,
Chemo,
radiation, and brachytherapy.
and you're right. Those really weekend. There are days na parang
You can't
even get
do
out,
anything.
right? And Andy was there.
Yeah, and this was the time that I was living. I was not living in the house already, so all the kids had to basically be responsible. We all had to grow up. We all had to play our own role, whether it's washing the dishes, picking up the kids from school, helping out with homework,
And preparing your wedding.
and preparing for my wedding as well. And I didn't even think of that anymore because that was okay. We have to focus on you first. So that was the most important. And I think one of the hard parts also is that we're 5, right? So to explain to the youngest
How
child.
old is the youngest?
At that time, she was 11.
Oh wow. Okay. That is
11, and then I have a sister who was 13 at that time, and then another 16. So basically, we're all ages. So it was hard to explain. And what she doesn't know is that when they would sleep over my house, we would all cry together, and we wouldn't cry in front of her.
Not in front of her.
Not in front of her.
Oh, now she knows. Oh, but Tita, of course, Auntie was obviously being very, very strong. How about you? You were the one going through all of those, all the treatments, and yet I'm sure you weren't thinking of yourself. You were thinking of your family.
Of course, I couldn't show my weakness. I was trying to be strong, even if I couldn't do anything. I hardly ate during those times, and it was really just it was so hard to eat. I remember I couldn't even stand up from bed. They had to pull me out, and what's hard was because every time my kids come home, then they would see me like that, and then I know they enter the bathroom and they just maybe they cry. And
I think it brought out the best in both sides,
Yeah.
from the mother and even the children, that let's not cry, let's not show our weaknesses because we need to support and be strong for each other. That's a beautiful, beautiful message. And here's the thing, how long did you have to go through this? A year? Because you said you found out 5 months before she got married. So you got married, your mom was able to walk with you, and how long was the treatment?
the treatment was, I think, 2.5 months.
Oh, quick, relatively, but
Every
very draining.
Every day.
Actually, that's worse pa nga pag sunod-sunod yung treatment mo versus it's spaced out.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, Tita, what stage? Because that also counts, di ba?
I was stage 1, B2.
That's when you know you can fight. Every stage is you can fight.
Yes.
But that's when you know kaya-kaya to.
Yes.
Stage 1. Stage 1 is very doable.
Yes.
Diba? So, 2.5 months of tad treatments, I'm sure. And that's even what makes you so weak. By the time you walked in Andy's wedding, you were in the clear,
Oh yeah, I was fine, and
There's a good story. There's a happy ending to
I
this.
was even able to help her choose her makeup artist, her cake.
You get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, so I was able to help her in her wedding preparations, and I walked down the aisle also with her.
This was like, I
Yes.
see this one, that one.
Yeah, and I remember when we found out, I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna be in my wedding? You know, all these things happen in your mind, like all these questions. But yeah, she was strong enough during my wedding. She was even dancing after my wedding. She was even dancing. So it was a fun moment, and it was those few months that we actually had that scare for cervical cancer. It really did change our whole perspective, how we actually looked at our mom, how I looked at how this, how I saw this sickness and how it can affect so many people, diba? And it's good that this sickness, that cervical cancer, can actually be prevented.
And here's the thing, you can win it. And just like the Rose, she won it. That deserves a big, big round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause for giving us hope, for showing us that yes, there's a journey to be fought, there's a war to be fought when you find out, but it's actions. It's you knew you had to go. Have yourself checked. Get the treatment. You had a plan. You knew how to deal with it. And there is like after finding out you had cervical cancer and you move on. It's also a different perspective, I'm sure. Andy, this is where I want to touch on now. You're a mother yourself. After seeing your mom, and especially here in our beautiful, very significant awareness campaign that we're trying out, you want to spread the word yourself too.
Yes.
What are your plans for your future? Or
I've had vaccinations. I'm already done with the whole vaccine, and that was my mom's first request. Okay, since I have this, you all get vaccine.
Yep.
So she would always make it a point, because it's spread out, but the whole vaccine is spread out. So she would always remember the date. She would always have a reminder. She would, okay, in
0, 6 months in a year.
basically a countdown to our next vaccination, because she knew how important it was. So
You took the initiative to make sure to pass it on. It's hereditary, right, Doctoras? Not necessarily. It can affect anyone. That's the thing. It can affect anyone. So it's nice to know there's something out there. Why don't you protect yourself? That's the choice. Now you heard it from your mom. I had to go through this. Hopefully you won't. That's why take this step to move forward and protect yourself, because you have a choice. Will you also be doing that too, Olivia?
of course, when she comes of age, definitely. I think not just me. She would like make Nicola say, "Do the vaccine now."
Any message for, I mean, thank you for sharing your wonderful, wonderful story. But the message out here, because it's a nice, intimate group to share your story, the way you had to deal with it. Anything you'd like to say to our friends from the media, the press who are present here today?
For me, it was just, just remembering it now. I know it's been 3 years, and sometimes, you forget about it, and it's just just the emotions that keep coming back, remembering how we found out, how hard it was seeing my mom again and picturing it. It was such a difficult stage, and really you get vaccinated also for yourself, but also for the people around you. Because if you love the people around you, you're actually going to be vaccinated. You actually go through, you'll get yourself vaccinated, because you don't want people to see you suffer. You don't want people to go through that whole emotional roller coaster. I mean, it can be prevented, so might as well get that vaccine, make that choice, make the right choice actually.
No, you can and you will. Thank you. A round of applause for Tita Rose and Andy, please. You really wouldn't want anyone to go through what you went through, right? But hey, guess what? That's why we have someone who's also an advocate when it comes to this kind of cancer. In fact, she's part of Brave Hearts Coalition of the Philippines. Hi, Abby. You're the spokesperson for this, Brave Hearts Coalition of the Philippines. Tell me about the organization,
Well,
please.
the very first time I got my vaccination in 2007, am I right? 2007. That was the time that I realized that this is a message that every woman should have or should hear. I'm actually doing this advocacy for 3 main reasons, if I may share.
Yes, please.
3 reasons why I'm lending my voice to this particular cancer. Okay, first, their numbers. They're called 2, 80, and 7. What are these numbers? It's the first reason why I'm here today. 2, it is because it is the number 2 killer cancer in the Philippines, worldwide pala, not just in the Philippines.
Number 2 killer.
Number 2 killer. 80% we will have a chance of getting that HPV. Every woman would be at risk. And then 7 Filipina dies every day because of this particular cancer.
Ooh.
So those numbers really struck me. Talagang na-imprint talaga sa akin yan. So 2, 80, and 7. When I was doing this for the first time, my husband was like asking me, ano yan, lotto numbers? I wish, but these numbers are not so good. These numbers, they have to be told to every woman. 2, 80, and 7. Please do not forget that. The number 2 reason why I am here is I know how to get rid, or should I say, how to fight cervical cancer.
Because you're informed.
I am
You're one of
informed.
the lucky ones who are informed. And by writing about it, talking about it, you're doing your other girlfriends a favor that they get informed of this disease too.
This time, they're not numbers, they're letters. It's ASV. Awareness, screening, and vaccination. These are the ways on how to fight cervical cancer.
Awareness, screening, and vaccination.
True. So these are the numbers and the letters that I've been holding for almost 10 years now.
Then, here's the thing. Miss Abby didn't go through. No, thank God. Diba? No cervical cancer background, no nothing. How did you find out about the vaccine then?
There was a friend from GSK.
See? How nice, konting kwento.
Oh. So 9 years ago, 9 years ago, tagal na pala. 9 years ago, I was forced to get a vaccine. Kasi I don't like injections. Who wants injections? So I was asked, ito ba an injection? Sabi ko, sakit naman yan. But then again, when I realized the value of it, I just can't stop talking about it.
Yeah. And again, it's for your future, for you.
First 2 reasons yon. First,
Okay,
numbers.
there's one more.
2 letters.
Letters.
The last reason why I keep talking about it is because I promised my children, now I have 2 children, I promised my children that I will take care of myself so I can take care of them.
I think that's the best reason too. It's about your family, it's about relationships, it's about the people around
Yes.
you, the people you care about.
So many women, as you've mentioned, so many women, so many mothers will not take care of themselves very well just because there are so many things that we should be taking care of except for ourselves, or aside from ourselves. But the thing is, as we get the vaccination, we have to take care of ourselves so we can take care of them.
So, again, the Brave Hearts Coalition of the Philippines, your vision is to see a cervical cancer-free Philippines.
That is very true.
How are you making this happen? What are your programs?
Well, right now, we don't have much of it, but if you go to our booth outside, you might get a free t-shirt if you like and share our FB. All you have to do is to go to Brave Hearts Coalition and then share and like and share the latest post, and then you'll get the t-shirt. The t-shirt, why the t-shirt? Because when you wear it, then people will get to see it and people will get to ask about it. I mean, from this group of people, I think we're about 100. All I'm asking is you tell 10 other women who will also
10 lang.
10 na, then who will also tell 10 other women. I mean, that is how we can multiply and, you know, make people believe that we can fight cervical cancer.
And we were talking about earlier, just again, it starts with liking a Facebook page, gathering a group of friends together, putting a program through your office. Do yourselves a favor and do your girlfriends a favor. And I'm sure you're gonna have so much fun empowering yourselves with the right information, the right steps.
Because this cancer is preventable.
Yes.
It is preventable, and we can fight this because we can and we will.
I love how you ended with that. Let's give Miss Abby Arez de Leon a big round of applause. So yes, I hope our 3 lovely ladies were able to convince you that truly this is the reason why we must learn how to protect ourselves, knowing that there are people around us who find comfort and strength in our presence, and just ended up with that. We can and we will. But wait, from 3 beauties, we got 3 more. And this time, they are our experts in the medical field. So ladies, please do remain with me on stage. Please stay with me on stage as I call our strong women representatives from different healthcare organizations to also enlighten us about their efforts. First, we have Dr. Ana Belen Alenzuela. Shall we give Dr. Ana a big round of applause? A very feisty lady. I learned a lot from her just listening to her on backstage earlier. Dr. Ana is the chair of the Committee on Reproductive Health of the Philippine Obstetrical and Gynecological Society. Joining her from the medical community as well is the Secretary of the Society of Gynecologic Oncology of the Philippines and a fellow of the Philippine Society for Cervical Pathology and Colposcopy. We have Dr. Julieta Corazon J.J. Hermar. Hi, Dr. JJ. I made a mistake. It's not all ladies. Like I said, the men are in the program too. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Public Relations Officer of the Philippine Infectious Diseases Society for Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Erwin De Mesa. Full out support. Hi, doctors. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. We heard personal stories from our three lovely ladies who are seated in front of you. But yes, your different organizations have much to share as well when it comes to our cervical cancer awareness campaigns and the ways to fight it. I want to start with Dr. Ana. How does your organization help with the fight?
Oh, all three of us are obstetricians and gynecologists, and there is an organization we call the Philippine OBGYN Society. They represent other sub-societies under the Philippine OBGYN Society. Now, currently, we're doing some campaign to promote awareness and to promote vaccination. There are two ways that we do it. We teach and educate doctors, and we teach and educate the lay.
The public.
The public.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So when we talk about teaching and educating our doctors, before we would only do vaccination for children. We're not always encouraging vaccinating adults. Right now, we are encouraging vaccination not just for cervical cancer, but for all types of diseases that we have available vaccines so that we will live well. We all believe that an ounce of prevention is always better than an ounce of cure. That's why what we're doing is educating the physicians, the gynecologists, empowering the physicians so that we will vaccinate our people. Now, on the other side, we also talk to the consumers, the public, and we try to do some lay education programs so that they would be aware that there are certain diseases that they need to be vaccinated, not just children, but all adults here as well. Because if there is a prize or if there is a cure for cancer, then everybody, I am pretty sure, will go for a cure for cancer.
Absolutely. But so educational programs, both for doctors, for children, and the public in general. But let's take it a step further. Besides education or providing information, you also have screening and the actual vaccination programs. Yes, Dr.
Our society is the Society of Gynecological Oncologists of the Philippines. So we actually take care of women with cancer. So just to give you a background, when we first, the good thing with the vaccine being available is for the longest time we knew what causes cervical cancer, right? Because when you're diagnosed, the first thing you ask your doctor is, what caused this? What could I have done to prevent it? So for the longest time we've been frustrated because we knew what caused it, but we had nothing to stop it, except for screening, which in the Philippines, unfortunately, we only have 9% of women who are screened. We don't have a national screening program.
That's so small.
Yes, that's why, as Dr. Alenzuela mentioned, the society, our mother society, has worked hard to reach out to women for screening. However, until we get a national program going, and we have, our societies have been working, trying to get the health authorities to listen to us so that we will have a national program. We have started empowering or even teaching our midwives to do screening so that we can reach more women. However, still, until we have a national program going, then we have what we call opportunistic screening, which means that that's why we're asking you to spread the word for each woman to be screened, because it's the only way for now. Because the next one is...
Dr. Can I just put up some numbers out there, just taking off from where you just said? That's alarming for me. Because you're saying 80% of Filipinas or women are affected, and only 9% are screened.
Yes.
That's very alarming, huh?
Yes, because there's a WHO study that looked into how many among Filipinas are screened. No? So we have an at-risk population of the reproductive age women, which means 15 to about 65. So the at-risk population is about 28 million in the Philippines, but only 9%, 9.8 actually are
Let's change those numbers, please. Your information, your write-ups, your talks with your girlfriends, that will go a long way.
I think the reason why it's difficult is because the screening requires pap smear examination.
Ay, natakot.
And I'm going to throw the question in this room. How many of you here has had the pap smear this year or last year?
It's supposed to be once a year, huh?
Yes.
You're
See?
supposed to have a pap smear once a year.
Exactly. So because our culture is prohibitive and Filipinas on the average don't want to do that, that's why we have a low screening profile.
There are sizes, guys. Don't worry. Ask for yung pang virgin, yung maliit. I'm making it light of you, but trust me, don't be scared. Inuunahan naman kayo ng takot eh, di ba? That's why we're informed. And take it from me, my virgin size. So don't be scared.
It's not painful.
Diba?
It's at best uncomfortable, but it's not painful.
Yes.
Promise.
Malamig lang siya. Malamig. Malamig. Sorry, okay. Okay, there's the screening. I want to push it further. Are there free vaccines?
Well, that's what we were lobbying for.
Okay.
So we've been lobbying for the longest time. Because don't think about the marketing, don't think about the companies, just think about the benefit. Because we have studies to show, and we have studies done in the Philippines to show that it's a very efficacious vaccine. And if you think about it, and Mrs. Rose here would agree with me, it's a very expensive disease to treat. Okay, so we did a survey. If you go through chemotherapy and radiation, it can reach from 180,000 to 400, or almost half a million. Okay, so
if you get the vaccine,
yes,
though.
if you get the vaccine, that will prevent.
And if you're working, if you have a source of income,
yes,
it's like
so it's very affordable, especially since imagine, because we do see cancer patients every day, and they ask us, what could I do, right? So imagine if you can afford, or even try to afford to prevent having cervical cancer, then you'll do it. So why not invest?
Yes,
It's just
in
a little
yourself.
amount, and you prevent disease from happening.
I'm looking for at my friends. Let's just give a figure out there. It's for the whole thing. There was 0, 6, and 1 year.
016. So
016.
016.
But if you all in it, less than 4,000 ba?
No,
No?
10,000 tops plus or 2,000.
Yeah.
So 10,000 pesos
But that's in a year, in the span of a year.
in 6 months.
6 months.
I actually had this talk with young kids, not young kids, but teenagers. And I was telling them, we were computing, and this is a group of students, and I said that it's even cheaper than buying coffee or a frappuccino near
Mas mahal pa yun. Mas mahal pa.
Starbucks. So, really, they buy coffee every day.
Why don't
pay
you
for
go to your
gold
doctor?
every day. But if you prevent disease, it's just less than that even. No? If you just save your baon every day, or even for mothers, if you can prevent disease, that's
Right, it's for you. Well, it's not just for you. It's for your families, for the people around you. Before I let our esteemed Dr. Erwin, of course, also, it's for everybody. It's the fact that you're thinking of the future now. The end goal is, I'm going to borrow the phrase from the organization of Ms. Abby, you do want a cervical cancer-free Philippines. So the end goal is to turn it into a law or a reproductive health bill? Are we going for that? What's the end goal?
the first end goal is to get a national program, because it's the screening and vaccination.
National screening program first.
Will that be in
the new
schools?
administration maybe?
Will that be in schools or offices?
For all women, because when you screen, that means that you do the test for all women, so that you catch the disease or the pre-malignant. So because cervical cancer, aside from knowing what causes it, the other thing is we can detect with a pap smear, which is just uncomfortable but not painful, if you have a pre-malignant. So before it becomes a tumor, before it becomes a mass, you can detect it. No? So when the cell is abnormal, no mass yet, it's just a cell, then we can already do something. So that's why you want the screening
First.
and vaccination. So hand in hand.
Doctor. Yes, Doctor.
Well, that's what the Society of Infectious Diseases, particularly taking care of women and women during pregnancy, especially right now. So that's what we've been stressing. With infection, we want prevention. Okay, and we could only get prevention through screening and vaccination.
Okay.
I think what we're trying to do here is that what we're trying to say is that our voices are all small. Patients, advocacies, doctors, private organizations. But what we need really is a very strong stand for the Filipino.
A unification.
A unified stand for the Filipino. The Philippine OBGYN Society is trying its very best to educate the lay. Okay, we need your help. You need to come forward and you need to help us also protect yourself. Currently, there is no national government program that will stop cervical cancer. The message at the end of the day is that cervical cancer is caused by a virus. Okay? This virus is associated with sexual activity. And we would like to prevent the viral infection by vaccination. And if you are somebody who has had sex or who has had the risk in developing the cancer, then we would like you to be screened. Protect, screen. We need the government to do that. But right now, if the government is not going to do that, then you must do it for yourself. And you help us prevent cervical cancer in the future so that there would be more moms to celebrate Mother's Day every day.
Ooh, that's like driving the right point. Shall we give Dr. Anna, of course, Dr. JJ, Dr. Erwin, our three lovely ladies a big round of applause. But wait, I feel selfish. I'm the only one like tackling the questions here. Anybody want to ask a question? Don't be shy. You're friends from the media. Yes, please. We have microphones also on the floor. Please do address a question to any of our lovely guests on stage. And just in case, we also have Dr. Leah and Ms. Jack over here to answer some questions as well. Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Kenisha from a blogger from Featuring.com. I'm actually already vaccinated. Good job. Also, my mom and my sister, and I also tell people to already get vaccinated. This the big C is really something heavy for you and the people around you to have. So, if there's a way to prevent, I tell people na at least this cancer as a preventive. So anyway, my question is, if I'm already vaccinated, the assumption is you only have to have it once, unlike the other vaccines where you need boosters, right? So since I'm already vaccinated, like the other people who already got the vaccine, can we be confident to not get screened? You already said earlier that it should be hand in hand, the vaccination and the screening. But some people kasi kampante na sila, ay vaccinated na ako. Parang nakakataman na screen ka, confident na.
So should you still be screened? Should you still be screened,
Yes.
even if you've had the vaccine?
Yes, we still advocate screening even for those women vaccinated because you are protected from the oncogenic or cancer-causing virus, 80% of the cancer-causing virus. So you still have to be screened just in case you have those rare types that you could get. No? So we still advocate screening even for those vaccinated women. And for the second question was regarding the booster. For the sexually active ones, not for now, with regard to the data that we've seen so far for the vaccine, there's no need for a booster yet. There's no recommendation yet for that. I'm not saying yet because there might be in the future. For now, we're not seeing waning of antibodies because usually you need a booster if we know that after 5 years, for example, you're no longer protected, so you may need a booster to boost your immunity. But for this vaccine, no.
So So yes, even if you're vaccinated, keep going. Well, screen every year. I mean, still continue your pap smear every year, definitely.
Yes.
For the local guidelines, because most of the women in the Philippines, we still do the conventional cytology. That's the one that we use, the slide, etc. So that's yearly. That's yearly because we still locally, that's still what we use in most areas. Now, in most centers in Metro Manila, for example, we use already the liquid-based cytology. So that one, you can do it every 2 to 3 years. Yeah, so it depends. You can ask the gynecologist what pap she used, and then depending on that, she'll tell you when you will come